So, Borderlands bombed at the box office, losing millions.
Just another shitty Kevin Hart movie.
With a budget of 115 million, Borderlands brought in less than 20 million during its opening weekend.
Oh, that's huge.
Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchfork tweeted, so what you're saying is you like what my friends and I do with our Borderlands video games even more than you like what some of our biggest cast and crew and filmmakers on the planet have done. I'm super flattered. We're working extra hard for you on what's next.
I love this.
Hinting at Borderlands 4.
That's a video game creator right there?
Yeah, pretty much the guy behind
I
Borderlands.
love that.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Shout out to video games, baby.
Yeah, man.
Which is funny because, they were getting some tweets like this.
Oh my gosh.
Prokin to leave
That's a
3
Tesla,
more.
too.
Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick previously urged people to give the film a chance. A lot of people worked really hard on it. The underlying intellectual property is phenomenal. The cast is amazing. I think the look and feel is really terrific. To which a commenter replied, just because people work hard on something doesn't mean it's worth seeing. I work hard every morning to pitch a long deuce. Does that mean others should see it? Maybe, but should not be expected.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
People dragging this movie.
So what are your guys' thoughts on, video games trying to make the transition to the screen and flopping?
Here's the deal. I have not seen Borderlands, but I am not surprised that a video game adaptation failed because we have not seen a good one since Last of Us.
That is fucking false. But anyway, keep going.
I can't wait for this
Damn.
conversation. The only video game adaptation that comes to mind is Last of Us, and that's a show. Uncharted, flop. Assassin's Creed, flop. Hitman, flop. Resident Evil, flop after flop after flop.
Assassin's
after
Creed
flop.
was terrible.
Terrible.
I haven't seen any of those.
Give
but
me the
anyway.
one that's good.
Fallout was amazing.
Oh, okay. So it was
that just came out recently.
It's a show.
Yes, and
which
Fallout
is unique because most video game to screen adaptations are not
are not
serious.
good. Yeah, I know. I agree with
So
that.
maybe we're
Usually
2
they're
for
bad.
2 on
No,
shows.
usually they're bad.
Yeah.
Usually they're bad. I agree with that. But there are some that are good. Now it's really hard to do that. Yes. And yeah, I agree. There's only 2 films.
Yeah.
Last of Us, which I haven't played the game or I haven't seen, but I've heard both great. I need to do that. Anyway, I'm like one of the biggest Fallout fans of all time. Played that game. My dad got it for me at Game. You guys remember Game City?
I'm playing Fallout 4 like
Game
last
City.
week.
Yes.
What kind of Chicago shit?
Circuit City. You guys remember Circuit City?
No, that's some
My
Chicago
dad
shit.
bought me. I was just living in Circuit City with my dad way back in Chicago when I was like a little kid. I was a little legit, and I saw like the Fallout 3 like cover for the game. I was like, Dad, this game's really cool. Can you get it for me? Rated M for mature, right? I was a little kid. He's like, yeah. Fell in love with it. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I watched the Fallout 3 series. Thought it was amazing. I thought it was so good that it made me go back to my computer and download Fallout 3 and mod it with New Vegas. Like
That's what
got me back
the
into
movie
the game.
should do.
Yes,
Yeah.
and not only that, it got like hundreds of people to do it. Big streamers, Shroud, one of the biggest variety streamers on Twitch. It got him to go back and play that game, and it made like hundreds of people do it.
That's awesome.
So, like I said, I think they did a really good job in just bringing the game back, and it also
I feel the exact
all in all.
same. I feel the exact same about Last of Us. Last of Us, until recently, was my favorite video game of all time. I think they killed it with the show, but it goes to show that movies, maybe there's too much to unpack in a 2-hour time block.
I know what the problem is.
What's the problem?
Think of the best video game trailers that you've ever seen. Think of Halo 3 back in the day.
Yep.
Think of, like, for me, it was Gears of War. Like, the Gears of War trailers were always fucking sick.
Insane.
And here's the thing about the trailers. No words were ever said. It was always, like, just like, one little scene. And oftentimes, the trailer was, like, a scene that didn't actually happen in the story. It's like they created a scene just for the trailer. Yeah.
Like a false narrative kind of thing,
oh my God. Like, the Master Chief trailers, like, it was crazy. And it's like, whoever directed those should direct the movies. But it's like when they get 100%. Like, for some reason they think, all right, we have an IP here that we think would work well on the screen because it has a huge audience that would go buy it. Okay, who are we going to get to direct it? Well, let's direct this guy who's been directing Hollywood movies for the last 20 years.
It's not the
They
same.
don't understand video games. Like, it's Fallout. For me, it was tough because at the beginning, I'm like, all right, there's a lot of like, it's
a little cringy for sure.
It's a little cringy.
Yeah, it was a little cringy.
but
I'm not gonna lie, it was cringy.
They were like so true to the video game.
Exactly.
Like slow mo. Like, remember the first scene in
Vats,
the like the roaches, like people dying and things exploding. It's like Vats. It's like Vats. And I'm like, okay, whoever they brought on like to do this series has clearly played the game. Mm-hmm. This is like, I don't know. I didn't see it, but I can already assume the fact that it has a 9% score means everybody who played the video game went to go see this, and they were just like,
Horrible.
What the fuck is
shit.
this? Like,
So I have two points. The first one, I came in here so ready to petition Hollywood to make a God of War movie. That is my new
That
favorite.
would be so cool.
That is my new favorite video game. By
Yeah.
the way. It
Of
was,
all time?
Yes, of all time. It was.
he was in this shit.
like
Wow. Like, beat the game, beat all the side quests.
When I
Father
finished
time,
it,
bro.
when I finished it, it's the only time I ever put headphones on to play like the last 10 minutes. Of it.
Yeah. I was like cooking, and then I was like trying to be quiet so that he could
That story,
have his
wild.
moment.
Shout out to Jake.
that story that they did in the video game is second to none, and it's actually perfect. I came in here petitioning like Hollywood, make a God of War, but I feel like I would be one of these Borderlands
scared, right?
hardcores that would go and not be satisfied with it.
Right.
And honestly, this is kind of my other point, but not really. What the caliber that God of War has in its place is its version of a blockbuster film. And then the blockbuster films should just have their films. I have no problem in the future if this never happens again. I don't care if they ever make a God of War movie because they already did it perfect in the video game.
Yep.
So maybe don't do that shit anymore because you're never going to please the fans.
Go ahead.
So you know how we were talking about with movies, like how we have such high expectations?
Yeah.
So do you think for video game adaptations in movies, should we also, like, are we just setting high expectations for them too? Like,
I wouldn't be able to help it. I would not be able to help going in to go see a God of War movie.
And it being like, you need
I would
maybe a
try
next
to
best
go in
thing.
there. I would try to go in there as level-headed as possible, but it would have to be the best movie of all time for it to be the best movie of all time because I've already played the best game of all time.
Yeah, okay.
I think in the past, like especially when Borderlands was like really in its prime, I think like global movie audiences video game audiences didn't compare. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 I see
Like
what you're
video
saying.
games were very like low key
Little,
back in the day.
yeah.
Like when Halo 3 was as big as it was, it's like not a lot of people actually like played video games and were proud to be like, I play video
I'm a
games.
gamer. Yeah, that's so true.
Nowadays, it's like, dude, it's cool to be a gamer. You got Madison Beer fucking streaming now on
yeah,
Twitch, bro.
that's insane,
It's
by the
cool.
way. That's
Like
so
it's
cool.
cool to game, which is fucking awesome. I think we need to respect gaming audiences now and be like, hey, just you don't have to transform this into a movie. Just keep it a game.
Yes.
Even though it's a movie, keep it a game because the gaming audience is bigger than it's ever been.
Right.
You know what's funny too that you mentioned that, Jake? You make a really good point. So I was like a little kid playing on my PS2, and like that. The point I'm trying to make is like we lived through that. Whereas kids now, they don't live through that because it's already cool.
Yep.
So I literally was playing Aliens vs Predator with my friend. I remember this clear as day. And we're on PlayStation playing Aliens vs Predator, and a girl calls me on my phone, my little flip phone. She's like, "Hey, like, what are you doing right now?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not.
I'm working out.
I'm just hanging out. I'm not playing video games or anything." Like, and then I hung up. I was like, "Guys, this girl named Jenna just called me. Like, I didn't want to tell her I'm playing video games." Like, good. Do not tell your
Yeah.
video games.
Yeah.
This is the number one thing you don't do as kids.
so
And like now,
different.
it's like you can just call like a girl or whatever, and anyone. You can be like, "I'm just playing video games," and like,
If that happened today,
it's
you
respectable.
would.
You'd be like, I'm playing Fortnite right now.
Yeah,
Play
you-
down. Oh, do you stream? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
the next question.
yeah,
You know, are you a streamer? Like, it's crazy. There's like the two parallels.
If
from,
that
like,
happened
then versus
today,
now.
you would text that girl and be like, "I'll call you in 5. I'm playing Valorant."
I'm gaming. Yeah, like, you're more important right
Dude.
now. Or the game's more important right now. I'm locked in.
I love watching Kai Cenat play like fucking Bloodborne, you know, dressed up in a uniform, and he's like the coolest guy on the planet right
Coolest
now.
guy.
And then like playing the fucking Chained Up with Friends or whatever that game
With
is.
Speed, yes,
With Speed, bro.
yes.
Like that's like gaming is on top right now.
They're
Classic.
calling this movie the great, like the.
The number one movie in America. Every movie is the number one movie in America.
No, they're calling it.
Oh.
Rated M for mature.